A 5-year-old Range Rover Evoque for £8,000, a BMW X5 with full leather for 12, a Porsche Cayenne that cost 90 grand new, now sitting on a forecourt for 15. Bargains? That's what the adverts say, but ask any mechanic who's spent 20 years underneath these things, and they'll tell you the truth. Cheap used SUVs aren't bargains, they're traps. Today I'm going to share 9 reasons why mechanics across Europe refuse to buy SUVs for themselves, even when those SUVs are selling for half their original price. These aren't opinions. These are the repair bills, the engineering nightmares, and the financial mathematics that mechanics see every single day. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that cheap luxury SUV will cost you more than a brand new Toyota. If you're watching this channel, you probably already suspect that modern cars are designed to fail, but SUVs take this to another level entirely. They combine the worst elements of modern automotive engineering: complexity, weight, and premium pricing for parts, and mechanics know this better than anyone. If you want to protect your finances and avoid expensive repair nightmares, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I'm about to expose 9 specific reasons that will change how you look at every used SUV on the market. Let's start with something every SUV owner discovers at their first tire change. SUV tires cost between 40 and 100% more than equivalent sedan tires. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between £300 for a set of tires on a Volkswagen Golf and £600 for the same quality rubber on an equivalent Tiguan. I checked the numbers on a premium brand. A set of 4 Michelin cross-climate tires in a common sedan size costs around £400 fitted. The equivalent Michelin tire for a mid-size SUV with 19-inch wheels? £670. Same brand, same technology, same retailer. 70% premium just because of size. Why the premium? 3 reasons. First, SUV tires are physically larger. 20-inch wheels are now standard on vehicles that would have worn 16s a decade ago. Second, SUV tires need reinforced sidewalls to handle the extra weight. These reinforced sidewalls require more raw material and more complex manufacturing. Third, SUV tires require specialized rubber compounds to balance grip, comfort, and durability under loads that would destroy a sedan tire. There's also a market factor that works against you. Sedan tires have dozens of manufacturers competing for your business. Budget brands, mid-range options, premium choices. SUV-specific sizes often have half the available options. Less competition means higher prices. But here's what really hurts. SUV tires wear faster. The additional weight grinding into the contact patch shortens tire life by 15 to 20% compared to lighter vehicles. So you're paying more for tires that need replacing more often. A small car owner might replace tires every 5 years or 50,000 kilometers. An SUV owner is looking at every 3 to 4 years or 40,000 kilometers at best. Over a decade of ownership, that's potentially £2,000 extra just on rubber. And we haven't even discussed what happens when you curb one of these low-profile 20-inch tires. Sidewall damage on low-profile SUV tires is almost always terminal. That's £150 gone in a moment of misjudged parking. The same physics that destroys SUV tires also destroys SUV brakes. You can't argue with physics, and physics says stopping a 2-ton brick eats brake pads for breakfast. An SUV weighing 2,000 kilograms needs 40% more braking force than a sedan weighing 1,400. Brake pads for an SUV typically cost £150 to £350 per axle. Sedans? £80 to £180. But it gets worse. German vehicles use soft compound rotors that wear evenly with the pads. That sounds clever until you realize it means replacing rotors with every brake job, not every second brake job. A BMW X5 brake service with pads and rotors? Dealers quote £2,600. The same job on a 3 Series? Roughly half. An SUV brakes wear faster because they work harder. City driving in an SUV means constant heavy braking. One mechanic I spoke to puts it bluntly: if you're driving a 2-ton SUV in urban traffic, expect brake service every 25,000 kilometers, not every 40,000. Now we get to the repairs that makes mechanics wince. Air suspension was once reserved for limousines and luxury saloons. Now it's standard equipment on mid-range SUVs, and it's one of the most expensive systems to repair on any vehicle. Air suspension uses rubber bladders, compressors, sensors, and electronic control modules all working together to adjust ride height. The system must maintain precise pressure in 4 corners simultaneously while adapting to road conditions in real time. When it works, it's brilliant. The ride quality is genuinely superior. When it fails, and it will fail, the bills are staggering. The rubber bladders that form the air springs have a functional lifespan of around 10 years or 70 to 80,000 miles. Not coincidentally, that's exactly when most premium SUVs fall out of warranty and into the used market. You're buying a vehicle where the most expensive wearable component is approaching end of life. A single air spring replacement on a BMW X5 costs £785 to £879 per corner. That's one corner. Most mechanics recommend placing them in pairs because if one has failed from age, the other is the same age and close behind, so double that figure. But wait, air springs rarely fail in isolation. A leaking air spring causes the compressor to run constantly, trying to maintain pressure. That overworked compressor then fails. The compressor? That's the pump that keeps the system pressurized. BMW X5 compressor replacement runs 2,041 to 2,158 pounds. Range Rover Sport? 2,086 to 2,172 pounds. These aren't optional repairs. Without a functioning compressor, the vehicle sits on its bump stop, undrivable. But the real horror is the complete system failure. If you buy a used SUV with air suspension at 100,000 kilometers, you're buying a vehicle where every component of that system is approaching end of life. RepairPal data shows a dealer-supplied active suspension strut on a BMW X5 can cost nearly £4,400. That's for one strut on vehicles with the adaptive drive system. Even standard air struts run £800 to £1,200 per corner. There are 4 corners. A complete air suspension rebuild can exceed £10,000. I've read forum posts from owners who bought seemingly bargain SUVs only to face 5-figure repair bills within the first year. One BMW X5 owner reported his rear suspension sagged overnight. The dealer quoted $2,900 Canadian to fix one side. Both sides needed work, plus the compressor was failing from overwork. Total bill approached $8,000. Some owners convert to conventional coil springs to escape this nightmare. Companies sell conversion kits specifically for this purpose. That conversion costs £1,500 to £3,000 installed. Think about that. Paying thousands just to remove a feature that was supposed to be a selling point. But many owners consider it money well spent just to escape the air suspension cycle of repairs. Here's something SUV buyers never consider. What happens when something needs fixing inside that engine bay? Modern SUVs pack enormous engines into spaces designed for aerodynamics and pedestrian safety, not mechanic accessibility. The result is what mechanics call shoehorned engineering. Every repair becomes an expedition. Take the Ford 1-litre EcoBoost found in thousands of UK SUVs including the Cougar and EcoSport. To improve fuel economy, Ford put the timing belt inside the engine, running in oil. Clever engineering on paper, but when that belt degrades, it sheds fibers that clog the oil pickup and starve the engine of lubrication. The result? Catastrophic engine failure with no warning. Repair bills exceed £1,500, often approaching the value of the vehicle itself. Some owners have faced complete engine replacements on 4-year-old cars, or consider BMW's practice of mounting timing chains at the rear of the engine against the firewall. On the N47 diesel fitted to the X3 and other models, replacing a worn timing chain means removing the entire transmission to access it. A timing chain kit on a BMW N47 costs £1,240 minimum for parts and labour. But if it fails before you catch it, engine rebuild costs start at £2,000 and climb to £6,000. One forum poster reported a £13,000 bill when their X3's timing chain let go at 80,000 kilometers. The Land Rover Ingenium diesel has similar access problems. The timing chain is buried at the back of the engine. A specialist reports seeing premature wear triggered by short trips and DPF regeneration cycles. A cold start rattle on these engines is a red flag that expensive work is coming. A simple thermometer replacement on some SUVs requires removing the entire front bumper assembly. What should be a 1-hour job becomes a full-day event. Labour rates of £120 per hour add up quickly when a straightforward repair takes 6 hours instead of 2. Your average BMW X5 has more lines of code than a fighter jet. Unlike the jet, it was built by the lowest bidder. And unlike the jet, there's no squadron of trained technicians maintaining it between missions. Electronic systems control everything: suspension, drivetrain, climate, infotainment, parking sensors, cameras, adaptive cruise, lane keeping, automatic tailgates, powered seats with memory functions, ambient lighting, digital dashboards. Each system requires sensors, wiring, control modules, and software. Each system can fail independently or trigger cascading failures across related systems. When these systems work, they're convenient. When they fail, diagnosing the fault requires dealer-level software that independent mechanics cannot access without expensive subscriptions. That locks you into dealer pricing for diagnostics before any repair work even begins. The Range Rover Evoque was named Britain's least loved car in the 2025 Which survey. The plug-in hybrid version scored a dismal customer satisfaction rating, with owners reporting constant electrical faults. Vehicles were off the road for more than 10 months waiting for parts and repairs. One owner from Manchester described it as the most frustrating car he's ever owned, with constant problems in the first 2 years of ownership. Another reported their Evoque hybrid spent more time in the workshop than on the road. In the What Car Reliability survey, the Evoque finished 44th out of 46 cars in the family SUV category. That's near the bottom of an already troubled segment. Electrical faults are particularly vicious when they cascade. A faulty wheel speed sensor can trigger an ABS warning, traction control warnings, and suspension code faults simultaneously. Mechanics spend hours on diagnosis before they even start repairs. Those diagnosis hours cost money, often £200 to £300 before any parts are fitted. And after all that diagnosis, the fault might be a £50 sensor or it might be a £500 control module. You won't know until you've paid for the detective work. And here's the cruel irony. The electronics that cause the most problems are the convenience features that attracted buyers in the first place. The motorized tailgate that stops working in a car park with your shopping exposed to the rain. The adaptive suspension that throws fault codes and leaves you with a bone-jarring ride. The keyless entry system that drains batteries overnight or refuses to recognize its own key. The infotainment system that reboots while you're navigating an unfamiliar city. These aren't essential systems. They're expensive liabilities disguised as luxury amenities. Every additional drivetrain component is another thing that can fail. SUVs, by definition, have more drivetrain components than two-wheel drive vehicles. All-wheel drive systems can add transfer cases, additional differentials, prop shafts, and electronic coupling units. Each of these requires maintenance. Each of these eventually fails. The Haldex coupling used in the Range Rover Evoque requires servicing every 40,000 kilometers. Miss that service? The coupling dies and the replacement costs exceed £800. Four-wheel drive SUVs also stress transmissions harder than equivalent two-wheel drive vehicles. The additional mechanical resistance from driving all four wheels means transmissions work harder, run hotter, and fail sooner. Automatic gearbox repairs on premium SUVs routinely exceed £3,000. One mechanic summarized it perfectly. Every additional component is another repair bill waiting to happen. A front-wheel drive hatchback has a gearbox and 2 drive shafts. An all-wheel drive SUV has a gearbox, transfer case, front differential, rear differential, prop shaft, and 4 drive shafts. That's not twice as many components, it's 5 times the complexity. We've talked about how weight affects tires and brakes, but weight affects absolutely everything. Heavier vehicles stress every suspension component more heavily. Ball joints, wishbones, bushes, and shock absorbers all wear faster on a 2-ton SUV than on a 1.5-ton saloon. Suspension geometry goes out of alignment more quickly. Wheel bearings fail sooner. Weight also affects fuel consumption, obviously, but it affects economy in subtler ways too. Heavier vehicles need larger, more powerful engines to achieve acceptable performance. Larger engines use more oil, need more coolant, require more expensive servicing. A routine oil change on a large SUV uses 8 litres of oil. A hatchback uses 4. At £15 per litre for fully synthetic, that's £60 per service difference just in lubricant. The weight penalty compounds over time. At 150,000 kilometers, an SUV has applied 50% more force to every moving component than on an equivalent saloon at the same mileage. That's why mechanics judge SUV condition by mileage more harshly than they judge smaller cars. 60,000 kilometers on an SUV is harder on the vehicle than 80,000 on a Golf. Premium German brands have perfected the art of extracting money at every service interval, but SUVs take this to extremes. SUV-specific parts command premium prices even when the underlying components are identical to other vehicles. The Audi Q7, Volkswagen Touareg, and Porsche Cayenne share the same platform and many suspension components. But price those identical parts through each brand's parts department and you'll find wild variations. A suspension arm that costs £200 in the Volkswagen box costs £350 in the Audi box and £500 in the Porsche box. Same part, same manufacturer, different badge, different price. Parts availability is another hidden cost. Popular sedans have robust aftermarket support with multiple suppliers competing on price. SUV-specific components often have limited alternatives, meaning you're locked into dealer pricing or waiting weeks for parts to arrive. The Range Rover Evoque's plug-in hybrid version became notorious for owners waiting months for repair parts. Some vehicles were off the road for longer than they were on it. When your only transport is sitting in a dealer workshop waiting for a component from who knows where, the true cost of ownership becomes painfully clear. Independent mechanics often refuse to work on certain SUV models entirely. Not because they can't, but because the specialized tools and software required make the work unprofitable. That forces owners to dealers where labor rates approach £200 per hour. Luxury SUVs depreciate faster than almost any other vehicle category. That £90,000 Porsche Cayenne selling for $15,000? It lost £75,000 in value. Someone absorbed that loss. And if you buy it, the next owner will expect similar depreciation from you. But here's what buyers miss. Depreciation on luxury SUVs is driven by repair costs. The market prices these vehicles based on what owners are willing to pay, and owners only pay what they can afford to maintain. A £15,000 Cayenne with £3,000 annual repair bills is actually more expensive to own than a £30,000 new Mazda CX-5 with £300 annual maintenance. Mechanics understand this calculation instinctively. They see what repairs actually cost. They know that a cheap purchase price masks expensive ownership. They would rather buy a 15-year-old Toyota than a 5-year-old Range Rover at the same price. The Toyota will still be running in another 15 years. The Range Rover will have consumed its purchase price and repairs twice over. So what do mechanics drive? I've asked dozens of them over the years. The answers are remarkably consistent. Japanese sedans and hatchbacks from Toyota, Honda, and Mazda dominate. The Toyota Corolla and Honda Civic appear constantly. The Mazda 3 is another favorite. Korean vehicles from Hyundai and Kia are increasingly common. especially the i30 and Seed. European vehicles appear occasionally, but almost always simple specifications with proven engines and manual gearboxes. Old Volkswagen Golfs with a 1.9 TDI. Skoda Octavias, nothing fancy, nothing with air suspension or adaptive dampers or electronic handbrakes. SUVs are almost entirely absent from mechanics' driveways. When SUVs do appear, they're older Toyota Land Cruisers or basic Dacia Dusters, vehicles designed with simplicity and durability rather than complexity and features. Body-on-frame construction, conventional suspension, engines that have been in production for decades with every failure mode documented and every part available. One veteran mechanic told me he could afford any car he wanted. He drives a 12-year-old Honda Jazz because it costs nothing to run and he can fix anything on it in his own garage on a Sunday afternoon. He called it the opposite of a status symbol. It's a statement that he values his time and money more than impressing strangers at traffic lights. Another mechanic told me he tried an SUV once, a friend's Range Rover Sport that was offered at a tempting price. He knew the air suspension was marginal, but he thought he could manage it. Within 18 months, he'd spent more on repairs than the purchase price. He now drives a Mazda 6 Estate and says he'll never buy another SUV as long as he lives. If you want the practicality of an SUV without the repair bills, consider Estates and hatchbacks. A Skoda Superb Estate offers more interior space than most SUVs with simpler running gear and dramatically lower maintenance costs. A Mazda 3 hatchback handles better, costs less to fuel, and will run 200,000 kilometers with minimal intervention. A Toyota Corolla Estate gives you genuine reliability that doesn't evaporate at 5 years old. If you want a raised driving position, consider crossovers built on hatchback platforms rather than dedicated SUVs. The Honda HR-V, Toyota CHR, and Mazda CX-3 offer SUV styling with hatchback simplicity. They don't have the complexity of full-fat SUVs because they're fundamentally the same as hatchbacks they're based on. If you absolutely must have an SUV, prioritize simplicity over everything else. Naturally aspirated engines over turbocharged, manual gearboxes over automatics, conventional springs over air suspension, steel wheels over alloys, cloth seats over leather with electrical adjusters. Every deleted feature is one less thing to fail. Every checkbox you leave unticked is money saved in the future. The Dacia Duster proves this approach works. It's the simplest SUV on sale in Europe. Basic engines, conventional suspension, minimal electronics. It's also one of the most reliable. There's a lesson there. And whatever you buy, budget for maintenance before you commit. Calculate the 5-year cost of ownership, not just the purchase price. Factor in tires, brakes, servicing, and probable repairs based on owner forums and reliability data. The purchase price is just the deposit on a long relationship with your local garage. Make sure you can afford what comes next. What's the most expensive repair bill you've ever received on an SUV? What do mechanics you know actually drive? Have you escaped the SUV trap, or are you still living in one? Share your stories in the comments below, because this community knows the real cost of automotive ownership better than any advertisement will admit.